Why are criminals attacking law firms?
Well, there's two reasons why. It's the amount of data that we have. Historically, law firms always had an extraordinary amount of client data that we receive, and historically, law firms aren't great about getting rid of it. So we will hold on to it forever. In days past, that's all changed now. But the second reason is also because of our clients. It's no mystery that many of the clients that we represent aren't very popular. And so there are times where people will realize we may not be able to get to the client directly, but maybe the law firm is the weak point, especially when you're talking smaller and mid-sized law firms. They don't spend as much money on data security because they haven't had a problem in the past. So they think, why would I now start spending money if I haven't had to deal with this issue before? The problem with it is, as lawyers, we have an ethical obligation to safeguard and protect that client data. It's just now law firms are starting to realize they need to wake up and take that more seriously.
Give me an idea of the kinds of attacks that you're seeing on law firms that I'm going to assume that law firms are completely unaware is happening.
Yeah, I'll give you an unsophisticated one and a sophisticated one. The unsophisticated one is, for some reason over the past couple of years, we've had a huge amount of gift card scams come at us where they're actually trying to come.
Yeah, I know this one.
Yes, okay. And they impersonate somebody else in the firm. They learn this from our own website. They learn it from LinkedIn. Again, not sophisticated, actually pretty effective considering we keep seeing it over 2.5 years.
No, but this is more just a financial attack rather than your information.
Correct, but when it comes to the more sophisticated attacks, it's always a phishing attack. They come in, they try to impersonate one of our people trying to give a password over. Luckily, again, for us and more sophisticated law firms that have good data security, with things like multi-factor, it's not much of a risk for us, but that's what they're doing. And of course, once they get in the system, they move around wherever they want. They mimicats the law firm, they figure out what to get from them, and then they can actually do ransomware scams, again, financial, or they can take that data and exfiltrate that data.
So actually, one of the things we've talked about on our podcast is, understanding where the threats are coming from. And I got to assume that if you're working for a law firm, you could pretty clearly identify where threats are coming from, because you've got a certain client, you know who is concerned about this client. So are you able to sort of more target your defenses as a result of that?
We are. Interestingly, law firms, especially bigger law firms that have intellectual property practices, we are a big threat for nation-state threats. And we're seeing that come in more often. So we're able to watch more where the threats are coming from, pay more attention if we have a lot of traffic suddenly coming from China, for example. We can pay more attention to that. And it's not really the drive-by kind of attacks that we're receiving. We receive those, on an economic side, not on the data side. When it's the data side, we can really see what they're coming in. If they're looking for somebody specifically, we can tell whether it's politically related, we can tell whether it's intellectual property related, we can often tell if it's client related, if it's somebody whose main client happens to be that client and we have a lot of their data. But we are able to actually pinpoint it a little bit better than historically we could.